I'm going to be planting peas. Now, I can't grow peas here because I get mildew and they get covered. So what I'm going to grow is pea shoots. I've got these old mushroom trays. I've had these for probably 3 or 4 years now. Put a plastic liner in the bottom. It can still drain from the sides. So all I'm going to do is fill this up, firm it down. I've got a few packets of seed, and I'm going to put these in this end of the greenhouse there, get them growing, and I'm just going to have pea shoots because I think they'd be lovely. Right, you don't need to be too purist about this. This is a mixture of compost. It's peat free, but I always like to add a bag of mushroom, and then what I do is with my shovel I will just keep turning it. Don't let it dry out either, keep it nice and moist. You can actually do a moisture test, so grab a bit of compost and then just squeeze it in your hand, and if that stays together then there's plenty of moisture, but also it should break away, so we know we've got the right moisture in that. I'm on my new potting bench. I'm quite excited actually. I'm on my new potting bench. Right, just take that bit out. Just slightly firm it down, not too much. Just give it a little bit of a tamp, like that. Clean the top off. These are onward peas. So I'm using a packet. I'm using a packet. All I'm going to do is just evenly scatter them. I mean, I'm only using them for pea type, so I'm just going to be cutting off what I want. Great in salads. Like I said, I can't grow peas. Not here. They get mildew, and it's not good. So I like pea shoots. So that's pretty even. You can move them around if need be. That's pretty even. As you can see there, look, that's pretty even. Right, get your wiggle or your sieve, whatever. Drop that on the top. Pull that back in. Put a bit of compost in that, and then just sieve that through. Sieve that through. You don't need much, as long as you've got a covering on it, because you can even that out. Right, and this is good stuff. I like this. Once you've got out what you need, don't throw that away. That is great compost. Put it on your compost heap, or what I do is put it in a bucket. And I put that straight on the bed and rotivate it in. Don't waste a thing. Right, I'm just so we can even that out, spread that out nice and even, clean your sides off, give it a tap down, that makes it firm, and then just give it a press, not too hard. I always remember my old gaffer saying firmness, Wayne, firmness, and he would go round and check after. Bless him. Right, that's good enough. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it anymore. That's perfect. I'm going to then put that in there, which is into my greenhouse. That was all made, recycled. Right, I'm going to put that in there, and I'll give it a good water afterwards. Put them in here. Go down there like that. And then we'll do. Always keep your bench nice and clean. Really proud of this. This has had 4 coats of some old garage floor paint, and it's smooth as well, because the last thing you want is an old bit of plyboard and you run your hand across and you get a handful of splinters. Look at that. Love it, love it. And this sounds daft, but I'm going to do this. Oh, it smells beautiful. Keep your bench nice and clean. Again, same again. What you can actually do is when the compost comes in the bag, is it settles, so you will get clumps. So I always just rub the clumps, break them up. Although it'll be okay in there, but I just think it's a force of habit now, really. Use your scoop, fill your tray, evenly put that around, go into all the corners, break up any bits, pop a bit more on, pop a little bit more on there, that's fine. Just like that. And then just give that a firm, not too much, just push it down gently. That will do. Get your peas. And we're using one pack, which has got 225 seeds in. So I'm just gonna. This is great for pea shoots. It's a shame that I can't grow peas, but they do get covered in mildew. And to be fair, beautiful in the salad. There we go. That's pretty even. I'm not going to be too purist about it. You can see that. And then get this sieve. Just give them a light covering. And the good thing about this is when the peas are finished, all this can just be emptied straight into the compost. So you don't waste anything. Don't waste a thing, and all your big chunks, bits of uncomposted wood, chippings, whatever's in this that you've sieved through is great on the bed. And if you've got wet clay soil, it's a great medium for breaking it down. You see, that is perfect. Save that. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. I'm just going to even that out. Clean the sides off, clean the sides off. Comb that down, make sure you get into your corners. The other thing you need to remember is we've got a lot of holes in the side of these trays. The water, when we do water them, make sure you've got a rose on, but you do it intermittently. Don't flood it all at once because the soil will just, the compost will just come straight out the side. So what we want to do is make sure that the compost absorbs the moisture and then it holds together. So we'll just give it a light dusting of water with a rose, and then if you have to come back 10-15 minutes later, so be it. I like to do that, not all at once, because if you flood the compost, it will just push it all out the sides and you've wasted all your effort, really. So there we go, give it a tap, that firms it, that's all you need. There we go, brilliant. And we've got this great bucket of, it's just gnarly endy bits of straw, bits of the solid mushroom, spent mushroom compost. So that's great. That'll either go on the compost heap, or that'll go straight on the bed and get rotivated in. Good stuff. Right, last one. Last one. I'm not really too bothered about putting the label in. I know it's peas, I know the variety's Onward. To be fair, I'm not growing them for the actual peas themselves, I just want the shoots. Fantastic in a salad. Absolutely fantastic. That's it, just a scatter at the bottom. Just a scatter it. What I'm also going to grow is, I think, coriander as young growth. It's fantastic in a salad because the flavour is just immense. I mean, I got into this purely because I got disillusioned with vegetables, fruit. So your cucumbers, your tomatoes, rhubarb, and anything that's perishable. I just wanted something to taste better. It's horrid, but what you get from the supermarket is not very nice. So I decided, you know, I'm gonna do it myself, and the taste is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I had my first crack last year at making elderflower champagne. Well, sparkling. Really lovely. Anyhow, there we are. That'll do. That's another job done. Look at that. Like I said, I'm not going to save these. I'm not growing them for the peas. I'm growing them for the shoots. I'm not really too bothered about what the name is. You see, that's nice and even. That's cool. This one there. Get the sieve. Sieve that through. The interesting thing about compost, and we could talk about this at a later stage, is when you buy compost in bags, always look for peat free, because we want to save our peat bogs. But you'll tend to find that a lot of the nutrient has been added. So if you look on the side of the bag, it'll tell you the longevity of the compost. So say for instance you've got a grow bag. Grow bags tend to have enough nutrient value for about 4 weeks, 5 weeks maximum, and then you need to feed. Then you need to feed afterwards. Now, a lot of composts now have got the saying that it's John Innes enriched. Now you see, the interesting thing about John Innes is we used to make it at the nursery, blimey, when I started at Charlie's place. We would make it, and it's basically just stacking turfs on top of each other. So we'd make us go into the field and we would have to float off turf. So then that turf would be turned grass side down, and then you would do that in layers. So we would make it where we'd put a layer of turf upside down, then we'd put straw, then we'd put a small amount of loam, then bone meal or lime, and then any organic, so probably even grass clippings, and then build those layers up and keep building them up and building them up. It takes a few years to get there, and then probably after about 6 years, 7 years, you can then start to cut it in cakes, and then it will be sterilised. I've had many a year in the barn sterilising topsoil in the winter when it was freezing. Everybody wanted that job. We'd have 20 tonne of topsoil delivered, and we'd have to send it through the steriliser. I mean, we used to make John Innes compost. We used to weigh out the ingredients, and we used to work to a recipe. Great times. But everybody wanted to be on the steriliser because it was warm, and it would fire a hot flame through, and it'd be on a rotating board. So you would put a shovel of soil on, and it would rotate. And as it progressively, you put more on, it sends more away. But this fire, this paraffin flame, and it was bloody hot. You would come out red raw, but it was good. Don't need to go to the gym. Right, that's firmed. And at the end of it, you'd have this sterilised soil pile, and then that was taken into the shed. It was left in a clean area, a sweat floor, concrete floor, and then we used to make compost by hand. Right, so that's that. There we are. So like I said, when I water this, I'm not going to flood it, because it will push the water out the side, and I'm only growing peas for the shoots, so I don't want it to be overwatered. But I'm just going to sprinkle it over with a rose a couple of times, just so it absorbs it, and then what will happen then, it'll expand, and then that'll start the germination process. I would say that with experience now, you'll probably correct me, these will be up within 14 days, 2 weeks. Just start to see movement. We've got a consistent heat in there. It's not going to fluctuate as much as it does in the polytunnels. The glass tends to hold heat a bit more, whereas the polytunnel, it will rise very quick, but then it loses its heat at night. So just watch it this time of year, because it might have been a bit of frost. When the sky's clear, we can still get frosts.